Okay, this video is called Advice for High School Students. Okay, this is an old lecture. I'm updating it a little bit here. In your high school, first of all, when you go to high school, the best thing to do is try to get out of high school. Instead of going to regular classes, if you can, if they have an XP experimental version where you can just study independently, try to do that. Do anything you can to get out of regular public school, high school classes. They're 99% a waste of time. When I talk to people about what you remember learning in high school, all they ever say is, I remember learning how to type, and then maybe one, at most two teachers was nice to them, and driver's ed. Other than that, it's mostly a waste of time. So if you can independent study things that you're interested in, that's good. Yes, you might feel you want to, let's say, go into medicine, so you have to do a certain amount of mathematics for your SAT. That's fine. But do them from an independent study base so you'll have more free time. You want more free time to do whatever it is you like. If you want to study another language, you'll have more time for that. If you want to study some other skill, you'll have more time for that. In general, Catholic high schools are much better than public high schools. The Catholic teachers are just as stupid as the public school teachers. However, they have a much better sense of morals. There's much better discipline. For example, I remember in the junior highs, in the public schools, the girls were getting pregnant, they're doing drugs, there was fights, all kinds of craziness. In the Catholic school, because I went to both, in the Catholic school, there were no fights. There was no one doing drugs. There was no one having sex. It was a nice, peaceful environment. The adults were in control. There was no bullying. Okay, what else? Some private schools are okay, but the Catholic school is much better for community. We all knew each other. We knew each other's families. We'd all go to the team sports events, whereas in the public schools, lots of people were bussed into areas and you didn't know each other as well. You know, it's a crappy place to be. It's a place that tries to destroy you rather than build you up. Always remember the rest of your life, your parents love you more than anyone else does, okay? In life, you know, we're basically alone, okay? You have your close friends, you have your associates, you have your social friends, your work friends, your intellectual friends, okay? But you're going to be alone a lot of your time, and no one's going to love you more than your parents. So remember that, because there's going to be times when somebody disagrees with you about what's best for you and your parents are probably right. Listen very carefully to what they say, because they love you and they have your best interest at heart. So even if they're relatively simple folk and they don't know as much, they're going to be thinking about what's best for you, and they'll have good insight to you. They know you from the beginning. Okay, Christianity is the best religion. All you got to do is just look around. What religion has produced the best painting? What religion has produced the best sculpture? What religion has produced the best literature? What religion has produced the best music, the best architecture, the best societies? Okay, that's why this multiculturalism stuff is BS. And just look at people from a country. Look what happens when they convert to Christianity. They often improve. Look at Dinesh D'Souza, the Indian guy. All of a sudden he becomes a creative genius, all right? You're going to see that as a pattern, okay? So study whatever you want. I'm just telling you, if you study the religions, you will find that. I've studied them. I studied these Eastern religions. You know, they're godless. There's no God, okay, in Hinduism, okay? It's atheism. Okay, and you know, society, it leads a caste system, okay, where you spit on the low-life untouchables, all right? So it's these other, they try to glorify all this stuff, oh, yoga and meditation. It's BS compared to Christianity. I'm just letting you know that. You study it for yourself. You'll eventually come to that conclusion. They tend to be godless things where everybody's a conformist kiss-ass. Ashok conquered India, and he's like, wanted everybody to shut up and obey him. So he said, I want you to convert to Buddhism, okay? Sit in front of a wall and say Om, okay? That Christianity empowers people. You'll see most of the greatest achievements of all time were, more often than not, were done by devout Christians. Okay, of course there's lots of exceptions to that, but you look at the big ones. Take a look at Bach, Michelangelo, at Newton, etc. All right? Okay, what else? All this modern stuff is evil. It's like a gaslighting trick to ruin you. Atheism screws people up. They become drug addicts. It says that life has no meaning and no purpose. And that's not very inspiring. It leads you to become a screw up, okay? Feminism's a big lie because they hate women and they know they can play on their emotions, okay? Oh, you know, your husband's an asshole. You should divorce him, you know, and then you should kiss your boss's ass, okay? And then your boss fires you in 2 seconds and you end up childless cat lady, okay? You don't want that. The happiest women are the ones that have children and they enjoy their families. You'll get a lot more happiness out of your family where you're the queen, you're the most important person in the whole family, the mama, than somewhere else. And for guys, be careful with marriage. Marriage is designed to screw over men with divorce. Don't get me wrong, my parents had a great marriage and I wanted the same thing, but my wife got a lot of this feminism in her mind, ended up divorcing me, broke up the whole family. No one else wanted it. But what are you going to do? Okay, the system's kind of designed. 80% of divorces are filed by women, so you got to be careful about that. Most modern stuff, it's all fake. Modern art is all fake. It's all nonsense. These things are being done to destroy Western civilization, so don't be a chump. Don't take them seriously. It's the emperor's new clothes, okay? This transgender stuff, it just came out of nowhere. Just to let you know, I went to a high school with 5,000 students, and I never knew a single gay person. There was not one. Okay, don't get me wrong. There probably were some who didn't announce it, but I'm trying to tell you, it was so rare, I didn't know a single one out of all the students in the whole high school, and I knew most people. Okay, don't get me wrong, there's of course some people I didn't know. But what I'm trying to say is, it was so rare. We never heard of it. We never heard of any of this stuff. I never heard of this stuff until I was like my last year of residency, okay? Okay, anyways, other things that are good to know. Auto maintenance. You want to have useful practical skills. You want to do anything that artificial intelligence can't do. How to change the oil on your car, how to change the tires on your car. You want to avoid all these electronic cars. This is more BS. You'll notice most of this modern stuff is all to diminish you, make you an atheist, make you hate your parents, okay? Give you an electronic car so they can turn your car off externally with a remote control. They can crash you into a wall with a remote control. They can monitor your speed in a speed zone and give you a ticket remotely, and then they can lock your car so you can't get into it until you pay your ticket. It's all BS. It's a way to control people, okay? So you should try to, boycott all of that stuff as best you can. The more you can handle things and manage things yourself, the better. Maintain good friends from grade school and high school so you can help each other. Have a friend who's a plumber. Have a friend who's a mechanic. Have a friend who, is an apartment maintenance guy who knows how to do air conditioning and heating, etc. Okay, all these friends are going to be valuable to you, so you don't got to deal with some stranger and they'll send over some, freakazoid, crazy, creepy person. No, deal with your friends. That's better, okay? Learn a language. You should know at least one other language, whatever one you want to learn. Maybe your ethnic language of your tradition, maybe Spanish, whatever you want. But the way you learn a language is not school doing grammar questions. You learn it as communicating, reading in that language, talking to somebody in that language. If you want to get good at communicating, if you have a school newspaper, write something for the school newspaper just to practice your writing. Write about whatever you like. Write about Irish music. Write about whatever you like, okay? Photography, learn the skills of photography. Learn the skills of drawing. Drawing you can do your whole life. These are valuable things because you can do them your whole life and they'll add to your repertoire of skills, whatever that might be. If you have to present in business or in academics, you'll have all those skills of knowing photography, knowing drawing. That's one of my biggest regrets in life, that I didn't learn how to draw when I was younger. Acting in high school can be a good thing just because, learning how to present yourself and how to sell stuff, how to promote stuff, that's valuable. Like they say, anybody can write a book, but very few can sell one, okay? Being good at sales is like one of the most valuable things for a person to make money in their life. In order to be a good salesperson, people have to like you. So for people to like you, you should learn about interpersonal skills. You should try to make yourself good, so you deserve to be liked. You might even want to get a GED, General Education Diploma. All I can say is most of what high school is just, animal training, jumping through hoops to make the teachers happy. And you can teach yourself a lot of this stuff on your own. Okay, let's see what else. If you're going to play a musical instrument, the best ones are piano and guitar. Piano is just a magnificent instrument. Guitar is nice because you can carry it with you wherever you go. It's very portable. The best sport is probably tennis because you meet a lot of rich people. You can learn from them. They can maybe give you a job someday. You can play it your whole life. A lot of sports are more fun, but you can't play them after high school, or you can't play them after college maybe. So, don't get me wrong, it's nice to have fun. Maybe you can get a scholarship or something, but I got a scholarship for wrestling to college. That was nice, but it's nice. I wish I had played more tennis. I could have kept playing tennis all my life. If you're going to wrestle, I think wrestling's a good sport, but don't be cutting weight. Focus on learning technique. You'll have a lot more fun, and in the long run, you'll be much better at it. Running's okay. I think cross country is good, and there's a few other things. Some things I don't like I don't like golf. Not that golf's a lot of fun, but they spray so much crap on those golf courses that they stink, and that's not healthy to be walking around that stuff. Okay, what else? Learn practical skills. Know how to grow your own food. The more of your own food you can grow. Learn about hydroponic gardens. Try to have an organic garden at home if that's at all possible. Just have one in your room from the window. Just start learning about that. Avoid all the chemicals, but just learn about seeds and stuff, because who knows if there's going to be more food shortages, and who knows about if they're going to go back to this 15-minute idea of a so-called city. You want to stay away from all that crap. Anything that's guided towards the general public, you want to avoid it. It's always going to be bad. It's always going to be low quality. There's always going to be violence involved. It's always going to be overcrowded. It's always going to be bad. So you want to figure out how can you develop a niche for yourself that you can avoid the crowds, far from the madding crowd, as the Thomas Hardy novel title says. Okay, you should know how to purify water. You should have some basic camping skills, okay? You should have survival skills. So stay away from that mosquito repellent because that stuff's toxic, but you should have some basic survival skills. You know, if you want, learn archery. If you got a friend that goes deer hunting, learn how to go deer hunting. That'd be a valuable skill. It's in one more way that you could feed yourself, okay? Yes, I'm 100% vegan, but I want them to keep on making some animal foods, etc. So if, the Democrats try to starve us again, we'll at least have animal food as a backup. If all you got is plant food and there's no animal food and then they destroy the plant food, you got nothing. You starve to death, okay? That's a common thing. So read about history. At least read about the Soviets in the 1900s in Russia, okay? Just have a clue and not be a typical modern, historically illiterate, stupid person. The people from Europe are smarter than you. If you're an American, I guarantee people from Europe are smarter than you. I've talked to tons of Americans and tons of Europeans. And the reason I say Europeans tend to be smarter is they at least have a little bit of cultural sense. You know, you talk to a Polish person, they can tell you, Russia did this, Germany did this, Austria did this, okay? They know something about history. Those Americans are like, duh, they don't know anything. They're kind of painful to talk to because they're so ignorant. The schools deliberately don't teach them about the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans. They don't even know the history of America, yet alone of any other country. So watch out for that. You don't want to just be hanging around people your own age because they're going to be equally ignorant to you or more so, and you can't learn anything from them. Let's see, what else? Do an internship for free, hang around with a contractor, make sure you're not exposed to toxic chemicals, but learn some useful stuff, how to, do some of the things that are done around a building, how to maintain a house, all right? If you know how to work with things like heating, air conditioning, running generators, learn computer programming. That would be great. If you're good at computer programming, you can work off-site, maybe work at home. You don't have to commute, okay? Again, know the basics of running in a car, how to change the oil, something about the engine. Let's see, if you're going to read on your own and you want to be kind of intellectual, the most valuable stuff you could read is study the ancient Greeks and Romans. You learn real human nature when no one has a dog in the fight. Italian Renaissance, Victorian Renaissance with the Catholic Revival in the 1800s. Really valuable thing is learn how to start a business. It's been said that a shitty business is better than a good job, meaning that if you have your own business, you'll have some autonomy. Let's say you got to take your kid to school. Well, then you can start your own business. You can start work at 9 o'clock, but you go work for somebody else. They're going to tell you, get your butt over here at 7 a.m. You don't have any control. And they can hire you telling you'll start at 9 o'clock and then a year later say, no, we need you here at 7 a.m. And you're kind of stuck. Versus it's your own business. You might not make as much money. You probably won't, but you'll have more autonomy. Okay, learn how to live off the grid if you could. Ideally, you want to go live somewhere rural. You want to stay away from the city. All the BS happens a lot more often in the cities. So if you have the option and the ability to live away from the city, that would be great. Avoid bad things. So alcohol is bad. You don't need to drink. You don't need to have one sip alcohol. It damages your brain. There's nothing good about alcohol. It doesn't make you cool. It doesn't make you mature or sophisticated. It's just stupid, okay? And your friends that want to get drunk, they're stupid, okay? It's a stupid, childish behavior, so don't do it. Marijuana is for losers. Avoid marijuana. Don't let anybody try to tell you it's safe. It causes brain damage. It can cause schizophrenic breakdowns. It's toxic to your lungs. It burns holes in your lungs. It's a poisonous substance. Stay away from it, okay? I say that based on a lot of experience with it. I've seen people just ruin their lives from it, okay? I've seen people have antipsychotic breakdowns, go on antipsychotics and get a chemical lobotomy, okay? I've seen really bad things. I got a lot of friends that are neurologists. I look at a lot of brains. You don't want to get involved in marijuana. Stay away from it. Don't do any drugs. All this stuff is terrible. Cocaine, ecstasy, it's all bad. The amphetamines that they take for attention deficit, they shouldn't be giving those kids amphetamines. Those are poisons to the brain. Attention deficit amphetamines is stupid. It's a lie. It's a trick. It's just a way to chump those people, and it causes brain damage, okay? So don't ever take one of those. Don't ever use one of those for studying. They make you stupid, okay? I hung around with the smartest people you could ever meet, the A+ students at Stanford University. None of us ever took any drug. We didn't even drink coffee or caffeine. Nothing, okay? All right, we just studied and we had conversations about stuff. We didn't use any of this stuff. All that stuff is bullshit, okay? If you want to learn how to study, and you should, the best book to start with is Super Memory, Super Student by Harry Lorraine. I got a bunch of free videos on study skills. Let's see, what else? Stay away from violent men. Nothing good will come from that. Guys that are kind of violent or that want to get in fights, stay away from them. Nothing good will come from that. Stay away from women that are sleazy. Girls will sometimes be sleazy because they want to be popular or get a boyfriend, or a girl that's not that pretty. She feels if she acts sleazy, she'll have a better chance to get a boyfriend. So stay away from all that. If you're a man or a woman, it's bad news. You'll end up with venereal disease, herpes, HIV, hepatitis, all these problems. You don't want that. Don't get a tattoo. The only legitimate reason to get a tattoo is if you're a member of a unit and everybody gets one and you're moving out and you got to go. Okay, that's about it, okay? Otherwise, they look really sleazy. On a woman, they call it a tramp stamp, okay? So don't get it, okay? When I was out with my girlfriend, the first time I saw her with her clothes off, I had her spin around in a circle. I didn't want to see any tattoos because it kind of creeps me out. Is that going to mean she's going to have hepatitis? Does that mean she's sleazy? She didn't have any, okay? That was one of my prerequisites for dating me, okay? So you're going to date a high-value man. Those things he's going to say. She has to cook for me. If she doesn't want to cook for me, forget it. It's just a waste of my time. If she has tattoos, I don't want it, okay? She would have to have tremendous qualities to overcome that. Yeah, I'm fussy, okay? Well, I'm lucky. I have the right to be fussy, okay? But I'm just telling you, that's what I insist on. She must cook for me, has to be 100% vegan, and no tattoos. Those are just a few of the things I insist on, okay? Stay away from bars. Nothing good happens in bars. You're not going to meet a nice girl in a bar, okay? You're not going to meet the guy who's right for you in a bar. Statistically speaking, it's highly unlikely. Stay away from noisy places like rock concerts are bad. You can go deaf after just one rock concert. Stay away from smelly places if you have the ability to do so. Try to avoid having to work in a factory or something, Like I knew a girl, a neurologist, lady resident, and, I asked her, what you doing as a fellowship? Because I knew she was going to do a fellowship. She's doing a fellowship in brain tumors. Okay. I'm like, well, why would you do a fellowship in that? Because they're kind of rare. And she's like, well, her father died of brain cancer and two of her uncles died of brain cancer. And I'm like, well, where did they work? And they worked in like a tire replacement place. So it's not the best place to work. I think you're inhaling all those toxic tire plastics, okay? And if you have to work in one of those places too, have some earphones, ear protectors, because if you're putting air into the tire, when you get that sudden rise in pitch, if you're doing that, those guys have a high tendency to go deaf. So protect your health, okay? If you have to work in a place like that or work with toxic chemicals or something, open the window, open the door, ventilate the place, get a fan. Don't just sit there and be exposed to it. Okay, what else? Don't hold your cell phone on the side of your head. Use a speakerphone. If you can, hardwire your electronic devices. Try to minimize your social media time and cell phone time because it makes you stupid. Spend more time with a book if you can. Always try to be learning. Anytime you're in a car, you should be listening to a book or a podcast or something. Don't worry too much about being popular. It's overrated. Yeah, it's nice to be popular. It's fun to be popular. But work on developing your skills when you're young because you got time. When you're young, your parents are paying the bills. They're paying the rent. They're feeding you. So it's your time to develop yourself so that you'll have the skills because you're going to be on your own eventually. You're going to be on your own alone. And you want to know how to survive. What's the purpose of a brain? So you can walk down a path in a forest, a jungle, or a prairie and survive. So you want to learn how to survive by yourself. Don't count on your lover being there. Your lover might be there, they might not. You might very well be alone. What do they say? About 30% of men at 30 nowadays are still virgins, okay? Because, social media kind of turns women into sleazes and they tend to go for some, polygamy. So like some tall, good-looking rich guy is going to have 5, 6, 7 girlfriends, and then all these average guys will not have any girlfriend, okay? That's kind of where things are going, and I don't know if that's going to change. So what I'm trying to say is just be ready that you can handle that, okay? And for women, like I said, you'll be a lot happier having a family and being married in the long run. That'll sustain you your whole life than being a modern, kind of sleazy woman, never gets married, has no kids. You're going to end up sad and lonely. A lot of women, they make themselves infertile. Fertility rates are dropping pretty rapidly. And if you keep on prolonging your kids for more party time, social time, work time, and you forget to have kids, you'll regret it. I know a lot of female doctors that forgot to have kids. They're so busy working. I know other female doctors who, had to do all that in vitro stuff and wanted more kids, could only have one kid. Okay, what else? Learn study skills because you just be good at learning everything. They don't teach you study skills in grade school or high school because they don't care about you. They're not your friend, your schools and your teachers. They're designed to destroy you, not to help you. So you got to teach yourself. Learn study skills. It'll be easy to learn everything else you do. School's for grades, to get your certifications, to help you get some jobs, but real education is something you do on your own. And it's an ultra marathon. Every day you should be trying to learn something useful, something new. some people are just good at social skills. Women tend to be a lot better than men. If it's hard for you, read books about body language, read Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Definitely learn money skills. A good book to start with is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. He's got a YouTube channel, watch his videos, and just be thinking about money. It's important. You know, when I was young, I screwed up in the sense that my father was a multimillionaire, and so I just figured I would be rich. But then my dad, my mom died, my dad remarried, then he had a stroke, and then an accountant stole all my dad's retirement money, okay? So poof, family money can disappear just like that, okay? So, and I also figured I'm smarter than my dad, so I'll automatically be super rich. And don't get me wrong, I make plenty of money, but I'm nowhere near as rich as I should be for all these reasons. I took it for granted. I should have been studying money. I just took it for granted I'll be, great at whatever I do, and I'll make plenty of money. I'm twice, 3 times as smart as my dad. I'll do, and he's a multimillionaire. It'll be easy for me. But I'm nowhere near as rich as I should have been, okay? And it's my own fault because I didn't think I had to bother with money. I took it for granted. Okay, so you want to learn about money. You want to be learning about that and thinking about that. The people who are good with money, they talk about it, they think about it, and they study how to earn it. Okay, you want to get in the habit of reading all the time. Have a little table in your bathroom, read in your bathroom every day. You got to go in there when you're doing a number 2, read a big book. When you're doing a number 1, read a small book. I got a list of the best novels ever if you want to do that reading. That develops your mind, reading fiction, but reading nonfiction develops a lot of times your skills. Biographies are good. A good one is Ben Franklin, how he developed himself. Self-improvement books in general tend to be good. History books tend to be good too because you get more of a sense of what really goes down in life. If you want to learn how to write, read Romantic Manifesto by Ayn Rand and The Art of Literature by Schopenhauer. If you want to learn philosophy, read The Cave in the Light, Arthur Herman. And I got other videos on book reviews and all this stuff on this channel. Let's see. Learn how to write well, just because most people don't know how to write. If you can write well, you'll be a much better thinker. And it'll be harder for people to mess with you because they mess with you, they'll know you'll put it right back in their face and you can argue with them, you can debate them. And if you write a complaint letter or something, you can kick their ass, okay? So they're going to be less likely to mess with you. It doesn't guarantee they won't mess with you, but they'll be less likely to mess with you. Because I've seen a lot of people who can't communicate effectively and they get kind of abused and mistreated. They get treated quite unfairly. So you just make yourself a little bit more powerful, if you will, if you've got that ability to write and communicate well. It's good to keep a journal of things that you like. So for example, I like to collect jokes. So I used to collect thousands of jokes. I like to collect information about medical topics. So I have a file on diabetes, a file on hypertension. And so I just accumulated lots of information that's been helpful to me. So like when I want to write a book or something, I'll just real quick go through my notes on diabetes and I'll write a book on diabetes. It's easy for me to do. Some people say, how could you write a book so fast? And I'm like, well, I've given about 100 lectures on diabetes. I've written a bunch of book chapters on diabetes. So for me to write a book on it, it's not much of a stretch. I just organize the material, take from my talks, transpose it into a book format, and organize it, format it all. But it's pretty easy to do. Let's see what else. Try to have at least one intelligent friend you can talk to, even if it's a pen pal, whatever it is. But it's good to have somebody you can run ideas by, because in the process of that conversation, you'll often learn from that. A lot of times, like whenever I learn something interesting, let's say I'm at work, I want to call one of my doctor buddies and discuss it, for their benefit to hear it, but also for my own benefit. I know from experience, if I talk to them about whatever I just learned, saw some real interesting case, I looked it up, read the paper on it, I'll remember that the rest of my life typically if I just have that one conversation. And if I don't have that conversation with them, it'll be hard to remember. I also volunteered to give teaching conferences because for many years I would run all the neuroradiology teaching conferences, and I would teach the other brain doctors, neurologists, neuroradiologists, and other people interested in that, neurosurgeons, etc. I would teach them about the brain, and that would help me because if I'm constantly preparing lectures and having to read to prepare a talk, I keep learning more and more. And then also, I wanted all the good cases to funnel to me so that I would see all the challenging, interesting, and rare stuff. That's how I would learn it better. Okay, so anyways, I hope this is helpful to you. And I got lots of other videos on study skills on this YouTube channel, so good luck to you.